This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Broadcasting live from the Capital OTB studios, this is the Handicappers Report.
Good morning and welcome to the Handicappers Report on this Thursday morning. Seth Merrow and Jeff Carl. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, Seth. It's starting to rain a little bit here in the Albany area. Just real quick, Belmont, they're off to turf. Races 4 and 6, 8 and 9 are still on. So it is raining. It's supposed to rain quite heavily down in New York.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on that as the afternoon progresses. First off the bat, wanted to get to, we had a viewer email yesterday sent in, forwarded to us, kind of touching on the controversy from earlier this week with the nasal strips in California Chrome. The New York stewards, obviously, that story, I don't know where it was going. The okay was going to come, and it did come. But there's a question from a viewer about in the future, how will the bettor know if a horse is wearing a nasal strip? Obviously, it improves a horse's performance. It gives a bettor less chance of making money. He thinks that he questions whether the daily racing form or past performance providers in total will show that a nasal strip is being worn. And he just kind of questions, it's new equipment, how will bettors know, should bettors know? I think it's a decent question, and Jeff, my thoughts on it were, I remember when the nasal strips first came out, whatever, 5-10 years ago, whatever, I believe the racing form actually did have a small N in there, and they did away with it for one reason or the other. But I think the fact of the matter is, I heard Dave Grenig on the radio a few days ago, and he made the great point. There's a lot of equipment that you don't realize a horse is wearing, tongue ties and that kind of thing that doesn't get put in. Now, I guess you could make an argument that we should have all the information and everything, but then it just becomes a practicality issue maybe. And so, yeah, we won't know about the nasal strips, I guess, unless a racing form for some reason decides to put that notation back in. To me, it's not a huge issue because, again, I think the Baffert horse that had the foot issues, and you saw the modified shoe he had. Well, we don't know day-to-day claimers what kind of shoes they're wearing, if they may be wearing modified shoes. So there's a lot of issues already right in that same vein that we don't know about. And as I say, practically speaking, I'm not sure how every bit of that could get conveyed. So, I understand what the viewer is saying. I'm not sure it's going to wind up to be a huge issue, though.
Yeah, I was on with Tuesday Handicappers Report with Mike Jarber. We missed a golden opportunity because we had the idea after the show that we were going to open up with nasal strips on because we were going to make the announcement on Tuesday morning show, so we missed an opportunity to have some fun. My response to this, Seth, is that the nasal strip to me is not a performance enhancer. When I trained horses, I used it on several horses. I tried it on some of my slower horses. The ones that are running well, you don't really want to mess with anything. And it didn't make them any faster. It really didn't. And, as you pointed out, Dave Grenig mentioned how many different equipment changes there are that the bettors don't really know about. There's everything from, nose bands, to figure eights, to drop nose bands that Todd Pletcher uses. Are they changing? Sometimes, the nose band isn't enough. Horses that flip their palates, you want to put a figure eight on them, it keeps their mouth closed. Tongue ties are pretty universal. Most trainers use them. Some horses are adverse to them, but the tongue tie, to me, is a more important piece of equipment than the nasal strip, because if a horse gets his tongue tie off, he can get his tongue over the bit, which doesn't give the jockey a lot of control. Also, they can start, choking on their tongue a little bit, so it has a two-prong effect. And then, there's different kind of bits that the horses wear too. You don't know if they're changing from a D bit to a ring bit to a leather prong bit to a Houghton bit to a run-out bit. There's so many different changes that, as you said, from a practicality standpoint, when trainers make their entries, and 99% of the time you're doing it over the phone with the entry clerk in the racing office, and the entry clerk is filling out the form, and they'll come down to the end, is there any changes? How many, there could be a laundry list of changes. How many times, I don't even know how many times I walked into the paddock to to ride a horse, and the trainer said to me, you know, I meant to take the blinkers off, but I forgot at the time of entry. So they changed blinkers. I mean, maybe the horse was running with a, you know, a substantial cup, but because they wanted to take them off, forgot to take them off at the time of entry, now the horse comes in with, you know, cheater blinkers that really aren't blinkers, but they have to do that to satisfy the fact that they didn't do it. And so there's so many different things that can happen. And to me, a nasal strip, if you're doing your handicap and if you think it's going to make a difference, I mean, I can't honestly say it does. You know, I think in this case with California Chrome, he's worn it his last 6 starts, so they didn't want to change anything. As I said, when your horses are doing well, you don't change anything. You try to keep everything the same. That being said, you know, I don't think Art Sherman ever said he was not going to run.
Well, one of the articles,
you know, he said the mainstream media just ran with this thing.
Yeah, and one of the articles I read made a great point. Art Sherman said something to the fact of, gee, if we don't get him, maybe we won't. You know, they're going for a Triple Crown. I think they probably were. But one of the articles I read said, yeah, he looks grandfatherly and whatnot, but Art Sherman's been around the track a long time, and he knows how to play the game. So he might have just been putting their feet to the fire a little bit.
Yeah, he never once. And it would have been, I think, almost an impossibility that they wouldn't have run if it wasn't allowed, because it really doesn't make any difference.
And so, again, you know, I see the point. I'm all for as much information on that kind of thing as possible, but there's a practicality issue. And
yeah, like I said, I mean, there can be so many changes. If I was riding a horse for the very first time, Seth, when I go out in the paddock, number one, the first thing I look at when I see the horse, I want to see if he's walking soundly. That's number one. And then I'm looking at what kind of bit he has on. You know, if he's got a D bit, I'm thinking, okay, he's probably easy to get along with. If he's got a ring bit in his mouth, I'm thinking, all right, he's going to be a little bit tough here. I mean, if he's got a run-out bit, boy, I'm in trouble. You know, if he's got everything on his head except the kitchen sink, I know I'm probably going to have my hands full. So there's so many things that play a role or can affect a horse's performance more than a nasal strip.
All right, and so nasal strips are now okay. Though I will also say I linked on Equidaily. There was a little ESPN piece with Janine Edwards, and I think it aired yesterday morning, talking about the okay of the nasal strip, and went into it a little bit. And they had an interview with Martin Pants at New York, where essentially they said, you know, they got the vet who came in and looked and said, as you say, it's not a performance enhancer, but it can just make it a little easier on the breathing for the horse. And they just, you know, New York kind of just decided it was time. It was kind of an antiquated rule, and it was time to revisit and change it.
You know what I wonder, and I touched on it a little bit on Tuesday, is that when I'll have another 2 years ago when this issue came aboard, I mean, he was trained by Doug O'Neill, who was already under a cloud of scrutiny because he's had several drug positives. And I'm wondering, and it was a different regime then, and I heard Janine Edwards on ESPN said she had talked to Doug O'Neill, who was taking this all in stride, and that's what he said. It's a different set of eyes looking at this now than it was 2 years ago. But I wonder if the people that were in charge of that decision a few years ago brought that into account.
Oh, I'm sure.
That it was Doug O'Neill, and that they didn't want anybody to have the perception that he was getting any kind of advantage whatsoever. So again, we're 2 years later, we're a little bit more open-minded, and we've got a different trainer that the perception is different.
Yeah, I think that the fact Doug O'Neill, and he was in the news at that time, definitely played into it. It's a different crew now. That, you know, now it's more of a feel-good story, and it's certainly the racing game. And I've also read some things that kind of surprised me boy, this nasal strip story, gee, it just shows how dysfunctional the game is, and they have this rule. I thought it kind of showed how functional the game was, because it only lasted about 24 hours. I mean, New York did the right thing. The story came out. They made the decision. They made the right decision. So I didn't think it was a bad thing for racing at all. I mean, it was a rule that happened to be on the books. I suppose they could have addressed it earlier, but it came to the forefront now, and I thought it was dealt with pretty quickly. Yeah,
they say in all walks of life, if there's a bad rule or a law, the best thing to do is change it. And unfortunately, this wasn't a New York State gaming law where it didn't have to go through any kind of legislation or red tape, and they were able to make that decision quite quickly. And I commended them on Tuesday for just bury this thing. It was,
exactly.
But, you know, again, the mainstream media, especially on Sunday, just blew it out of proportion.
Yeah.
I mean, I was reading my USA Today app on my phone. California Chrome may not run the NBC Nightly News, it was one of their stories, you know, that he might. I'm like, nobody ever said he wasn't going to run, but that's just the nature of media. So
Man
it is what it is, and we just move on now.
Man bites dog. All right, let's shift our attention now to the handicapping. Jeff's going to look at Belmont a little later on. I'm going to kick things off with Churchill. Yesterday I did Belmont, and I was kind of all around. I think it was only one winner, and that was a dead heat winner. But mine were all kind of in the not all, but many of them. I think it played around a little bit with the plays. Could have made some money on some exactas that were okay, but it was just a day where it was a little tough to come up with those winners on top. There was one or two that would have been very tough for me. But we'll see what we can do with Churchill today.
Race number 1 at Churchill is a maiden special weight for 2-year-old fillies going 5 furlongs.
I have a 2, 3, and 4. The number 2 is Gypsy Angel Row. And frankly, it's just Wesley Ward. It's a 2-year-old race, 5 furlongs this early in the year, and Wesley Ward, this is kind of his specialty. You also have a little bit of breeding there. The dam produced a sibling called Markdale that was 4th in the career debut, won in the second career start, finished second right after that. So there's some precociousness on the breeding, and certainly Wesley Ward, very, very good first time out of the box. Number 3, All Her Glory in the second spot. Again, there's some nice breeding. I like Bluegrass Cat on top. The dam produced a sibling called Sonia's Angel, 5th, then 3rd, then 1. Again, if they can win within those first 3, I like that. Another sibling called Lightning Angel. Now, Lightning Angel, 0 for 6 in the career with a second place start, but that second place was in the career debut at 18-1. So again, a little bit of precocious breeding perhaps underneath. And then Rusan, the number 4 horse, goes out for Steve Asmussen. You know, it is Steve Asmussen. He's good with first-time starters as well. Sometimes his get better second time out of the box. This may be one of those. They didn't pay a whole lot for this horse at the Barrett sale earlier this year. Does have a sibling, though, called Go-Go Jojo, 4th in the career debut and then 1 in the second start. So this may be one, as I say. Maybe we'll get a run on this one, Roseanne, today, and it'll be a little bit tighter next time out. But in the opener, I have a 2, 3, and 4.
Race number 2 at Churchill Downs is a maiden claiming. Now, it is a maiden claiming. Excuse me, I don't have the racing form profile in front of me, so I'm reading a little bit differently than I normally do.
You and a lot of people don't have it.
Yeah,
racing form, if folks don't know, has been down for a little while. They've got kind of a substitute site up yet, but most of the features aren't there. It's been a day and a half or so.
Yeah, we are creatures of habit, so I got a little curveball here, and so far I'm whiffing on it. It's for maiden fillies and mares 3 and up. The claiming price is $50,000 down to $45,000. Distance is 6 1/2 furlongs.
3, the 1A, 2, and 4. The number 3 is Dream of Birdie. It's Steve Margolis. He does pretty good. He does very good. Going main special weight to maiden claimer, the most potent move in racing, they say. And again, this trainer does very well with it. So it's just on that class drop for the trainer. Second spot, the number 1A, Hunting Hill. Another horse making that maiden special weight class drop. But the surface switch here is a question mark. Debuted here on the Churchill Dirt. Just about this time, a little later last year, maybe 11 months ago. Ran 6th in a field of 8, but that was the career debut. This horse has improved since then on turf and synthetics, so I think this is a better horse. Back to the dirt, that's the question mark, but adds blinkers and gets the class drop. We'll put Hunting Hill in the second spot. Third spot, Alexis Rules. The trainer's good with first-time starters, Brett Calhoun. But the siblings aren't that precocious, so I was a little bit dicey on the breeding in here. So, second race, 3, 1A, 2, and 4.
Race number 3 at Churchill Downs is a claiming event for 4 and up. Claiming price of $50,000. They are going 1 mile on the turf.
I have this one 2, 1, 8, and 7, and the 10. Once you got down in the mix a little bit, the 10 was a little bit interesting to me as well. Number 2 is Tis Sardonic Joe. Has some back numbers and may have added some fitness off the latest effort. Laid off from March of last year to February of this year. Then there was another little bit of a layoff until April. That April race was a nice win at the 50 claiming level. So again, found maybe the proper level. Has some added fitness in those back numbers for Wesley Ward. We'll put Tis Sardonic Joe on top. Second spot, the number 1, Key to Power. This horse is capable if able to rebound from the latest effort. That's a question. The horse was pulled up and walked off, so what went on there, we don't know. That was back towards the end of March. This horse now comes back. And again, the races just before that were a couple of wins with pretty good numbers. So, you know, rolling the dice a little bit, but I'm guessing probably Michael Tomlinson has this one ready to come back. So we'll draw a line through that last one, hope we rebound to the prior efforts. Third spot, we are going to go to the number 8, Stormy Going. 12-1 on the morning line, but this, I think, is the catch me if you can horse, and speed is always dangerous, of course. So as they go into the first turn, if you see Stormy Going, maybe open up a little bit. This horse could be tough to reel in late. That's the game plan here. I mean, really, you look at the rest of the field, this is the speed. So that's always dangerous, and a 12-1 could add a little value as well. In the third, 2, 1, 8, and 7.
Moving along to race number 4 at Churchill Downs. It is a claiming event. The claiming price is $50,000 down to $40,000. It's for 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races. The distance is 6 furlongs.
5, 3, 6, and 4. The number 5 is Mr. Right. I'm looking at this pretty solid maiden breaker 2 races back. The last race, this horse had some trouble and, you know, wound up a disappointing 7th in a field of 8. Had at least a couple next out winners coming out of that, so it may have been a salty non-winners at 1 to begin with. I think that non-winners at 1, again, which could have been a tough field to begin with, is class-wise much better than this 50 non-winners at 2. So, you know, that maiden breaker 2 starts back. Little class relief today. I think Mr. Right is interesting in here. Number 3, Divine Thunder in the second spot. Seems consistent on the numbers and has a bullet work coming into this. Last time out was a nice close-up 4th. That was on the synthetic over at Keeneland. Prior to that, though, was at Oaklawn. And as I say, this time of year, I do like those Oaklawn horses as they move out to other tracks. And this one almost got it done on that move over at Keeneland at 12-1. But again, does have the good numbers, the bullet workout, and I think is in a good spot in with this particular field. Rincon Bear, the number 6 horse in the third spot, ran well here last year, just about this time, May and June. Moved up to Saratoga, disappointed up there in Allowance Company, then was over in Indiana Downs and an optional claimer, again disappointment, but now has had some time off. And again, the return to Churchill, a track where this horse has run well before, may be the tonic that gets this one going in the seasonal debut. So again, take a little shot on this one with a return to a track that this horse has shown a little bit of affinity for. In the fourth, 5, 3, 6, and 4.
Race number 5 at Churchill Downs is a claiming event. Claiming price of $30,000 down to $25,000. It's for fillies and mares 3 and up, which have never won 2 races, and the distance is 6 furlongs.
3, 5, 2, and 4. The number 3 is Rule Like Cleopatra, and this is one of those horses coming in from Oaklawn. I like him this time of year. Does so with perhaps a little bit of class relief as well. A 30-40 non-winners at 2. Today's 25-30 non-winners at 2. Showed some nice improvement number-wise. Start 1 to start 2. Only 3 starts in the career, so I think we have some upside potential still out there to explore. So I think Rule with Cleopatra looks interesting to me. Again, class-wise, I think it's going to be a good fit, in some good form, in from Oaklawn. Second spot, we're going to go with another Oaklawn shipper, Brown-Eyed Mary, the number 5 horse, also in from Oaklawn, on the improve over the last 3 starts Beyer-wise. Now, the first of those 3 starts was last September here at Churchill Downs, and that was an 8th place finish. So, is this maybe a negative horse for a course? I'm going to give that race a pass. It was the second start of the career. It was in Maiden Special Weight Company. They took a lot of time off after that, so who knows, maybe something went wrong or they just decided the horse needed a little more maturity. I think this horse is probably better now, and it's that Churchill race was not a negative horse for a course. I'm reading the tea leaves a little bit, and I'm hoping off of that last race at Oaklawn, the move into Maiden Company, they found the proper level and whatnot. We'll look for Brown-Eyed Mary to run well. Third spot, the number 2, Blue Tata. Moves up off of the claim, but should fit. This horse has had 3 career starts, 2 of them down at Delta Downs in January. There were a couple of nice starts, then moved right up here to Churchill, just missed in again, a cheaper race at 10-15. This is a 25-30. But I think that 10 to 15 was a pretty good effort and may bode well that the move up is not going to prove to be much of an obstacle today. At least we'll hope not. In the fifth, I have it 3, 5, 2, and 4.
And there you have it. So that's selections for Churchill races 1 through 5. We need to take our first break, and when we come back, we'll finish out today's Churchill Downs card. So please stay tuned. You're watching the OTB TV network.
California Chrome has won the Preakness! And that elusive prize, the Triple Crown, awaits California Chrome in the Belmont Stakes.
The dream continues. The Triple Crown dream is still alive.
And the best place to be when it happens is the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. You can also be part of the action by visiting one of our Easy Bet or branch locations or bet online at capitalotbbet.com.
I'm Seth Merrill. Join me weekdays at 10 for Racing Across America. We'll look at important races from around the country, get insight from top handicappers and analysts, and preview the upcoming week in racing. That's Racing Across America, weekdays at 10, right here on the OTB TV network.
Here in upstate New York, no one provides bettors with more wagering options than Capital OTB. Our network of branch and easy bet locations stretches from the mid-Hudson Valley all the way to the Canadian border and west to central New York. So whether you need to place a bet, fund your Capital Bets account, or watch the next big race, all the action is just around the corner. A full list of our branch and easy bet locations can be found online at capitalotb.com. Capital OTB, the better and most convenient choice for wagering in upstate New York.
On Preakness Day, no one brought you more insight, more analysis, and more information crucial to the professional horse player than OTB TV, with live coverage from Pimlico, including Pimlico track announcer Dave Rodman, HorsePlayerNow.com's Brian Nadow, and none other than California Chrome's exercise rider Willie Delgado, each with their own expert analysis and first-hand look at track conditions and early morning workouts. So for the very latest racing news and opinions, keep it right here on OTB TV.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrill.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday morning. Before the break, Seth gave you his selections for Churchill races 1 through 5. Let's move along to race number 6. It is an entry-level allowance race for 3 and up, and they are going 5 furlongs on the turf.
7, 2, 6, and 8. The number 7 is Gibson's Bullet. Just one of those horses we run across every once in a while that just has a numbers edge. I think on the buyer figures, again, this one kind of stands out in the field. There are some other horses that here and there in the past performances you can see comparable numbers, but this one pretty consistently puts them together. Has been off since a claim beginning of March. Down at Gulfstream, so that's maybe a little bit of a concern, but that was a nice win. And I think the last couple of workouts say this horse probably should be well meant today. 8 to 5 on the morning line. Gibson's Bullet on top. Second spot, we will go with a Rednamite. If I'm reading that correct, that may be some word that I'm not familiar with. Rednamite, but we'll wait and see how it's called today by Larry Colmus. Just seems to be in some good form. Again, on the numbers over the last 3 starts as compared to the rest of the field, I think there's some nice consistency there and maybe second best. Again, other horses showing numbers, in and out of the past performances, but this one having put together 3 pretty nice races that are fairly consistent down at Tampa, adds the blinkers today. We'll put the number 2 in the second spot. Number 6, Doubly Distinct. Might be interesting trying a turf sprint. This is a horse that has raced exclusively on the dirt, but is fast, has some nice early fractions in various races, and I'm just looking at the rest of the field, looks to fit well. that speed, I think, will be conducive to this particular field. And so, again, the question mark here is going to be the surface. But, yeah, with distinction on top, I think that's okay. So, again, might be interesting. You're getting 8-1, so the number 6 doubly distinct. Makes the move over to a new, I typically think of these turf sprints as kind of specialties, and I like turf sprinters. But this is a field where there's really nobody jumping out as a specific turf sprinter, so you got to go around a little bit. And I think doubly distinct might be kind of interesting. In the 6th, 7-2, 6 and 8.
Moving along to race number 7 at Churchill Downs. It's a claiming event. They're in for a claiming price of $8,000. It's for 3 and up, which have never won 2 races. The distance is 1 mile and 1/16.
2, 5, 8, and 6. The number 2 is a Rooster Cruiser. Comes in from Oaklawn off of some numbers that I think seem to fit with this particular bunch. Again, I like the horses coming in from Oaklawn at this time of year. This horse finishing positions in those Oaklawn races weren't much to write home about, but they were also against better company. So again, I think this horse is coming in, some improving numbers. I think class-wise is going to be a good fit. Number 2, Rooster Cruiser on top. 2nd spot, the number 5, A Better Tomorrow. And A Better Tomorrow is just in some good form. Recently, we're looking at what the last 4 starts, the last 5 starts actually. You have a couple of thirds, couple of wins, a 2nd place finish last time. The 2nd place finish last time was here on the main track at Churchill Downs at 7 furlong in this kind of company. So ran 2nd in a similar group last time, a little bit shorter, but I think we'll do okay on the stretch out. So A Better Tomorrow in the mix. And then the number 8, Artillery. Also was a good 2nd last time, albeit against lesser competition. But you go down the past performances, this horse has bounced in and around this company. And again, I don't think this is a super strong field. So just looking at the recent numbers for Artillery, I don't think the move up the ladder is going to be a detriment to this one in this particular field. In the 7th, 2, 5, 8, and 6.
Race number 8 at Churchill Downs is a starter allowance race for 4 and up, which have started for a claiming price of $10,000 or less in 2013 and 2014. The distance is 7 furlongs.
1, 6, 3, and 2. The number 1 is High Roller Dave. Had a solid win against lesser last time, but does have some top connections. It's Tommy Amos, it's Rosie Napravnik. So won in a starter 5 last time. It was a nice win. Had won just prior to that in an allowance down at the fairgrounds on the turf in a sprint. But last time out, that starter 5 here at Churchill was at the 7 furlong distance. Again, this is a move up, a little bit tougher competition potentially, but on the connections, I think this one has the potential to hold its form. So number 1, High Roller Dave on top. 2nd spot, Froggyville, the number 6 horse in the 2nd spot. Beaten favorite last time versus similar. Those are the kind I think you always have to pay a little extra attention to. This horse came in off a couple of good numbers down at Oaklawn. Again, went off as the 6-5 favorite last time in a very similar race, class-wise, a little bit shorter distance-wise, but was beaten as the 6-5 favorite. The horse, Cat's My Song, right underneath that I don't have in my mix, actually beat this horse, ran 2nd, mine ran 3rd. So I'm going to leave Cat's My Song off, but I do think Froggyville has the potential to improve. Again, had those 2 nice races down at Oaklawn, which I think led to that 6-5 favoritism. I'm going to look for this one to bounce back and rebound to what we saw down at Oaklawn. It's just one of those intuition things. I think maybe that race over the track this season will put this horse back in form. We'll see a better effort today. Froggyville in the 2nd spot. Spot number 3, I have the number 3, Runaway Pepper. This horse was showing improving numbers when last seen. Now, that was at the autumn of 2013, September, October, November. But 2nd, 1st, 3rd, improving numbers. The question mark will be the fitness level. Was claimed out of that last race, so it may be a concern that they had to lay the horse up off of the claim. But if this horse does come back and has some fitness, those races at the end of last year I thought were good enough to be in the mix here. In the 8th, I have it 1, 6, 3, and 2. I will also mention, as I was looking down at the last few, the number 4, Pedrolino, kind of attracted my interest as well. Didn't put it in my top 4, but I did. The number 4 is interesting. But I have a 1, 6, 3, and 2.
Race number 9, the finale at Churchill Downs today, is a claiming event. Claiming price of $30,000 down to $25,000. It's for 3 and up, which have never won 3 races or straight 3-year-olds. They are going 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf.
9, 7, 6, and 2. The number 9 is Cold Facts, and like a horse earlier on the card, the surface is going to be the question mark. This horse has never tried the turf before, but horse is in some okay form. I mean, you look at the buyers over the last few races and the finishing positions, they're all pretty good. Class-wise, I think the horse is going to be a good fit here. Dropped to this 30 level last time. Ran an okay fourth, going 1 mile and 1/16 on the dirt. But again, number-wise, as compared to this field, that was a pretty good effort. So Cold Facts, 8-1. We're going to take a little bit of a shot, but again, the surface is going to be a question mark. Second spot, we will go to the number 7, Paroled. Ran well on the poly track last time over at Keeneland. This horse, the last 3 races has been on last 4 races has been on synthetics. Has tried and run decently on turf before. So again, I think the synthetic race over at Keeneland, in a little bit tougher competition, an open 32, I think that's going to set this horse up to run well today. And then in the third spot, we're going to go back to the number 2, Courtmaster. Fired some decent numbers over the past 3 or 4 races. Also been good finishing positions. The last was a race right here at Churchill on the main track. Claimed out of that race for $15,000. That was a just missed effort. That was again on the main track. But again, another one who's tried the turf before and done so with a little bit of success. So I don't think the move back to the turf surface is going to be an obstacle, particularly in a field that I think this horse is going to appreciate. In the 9th and final today at Churchill, 9, 7, 2, and 6.
That's going to wrap up Seth's picks for today's Churchill Downs card, and we're going to take another break. When we come back, I'll give you my picks for Belmont, where they are off the turf 4 and 6, races 4 and 6, but they're staying on for races 8 and 9. So please stay with us. You're watching the OTB TV Network.
Missed one of our TV shows? No worries. Now you can catch all your favorite programs online. Simply log on to CapitalOTB.com and click on the YouTube link at the bottom of the homepage. And look for our new podcast coming soon. CapitalOTB.com. Log on today.
The future of online betting is here, and only at the all-new CapitalOTBBet.com. With a newly designed and engineered internet wagering platform, enhanced video streaming, additional funding options, and 3 new individual wagering opportunities, CapitalOTBBet.com delivers a state-of-the-art wagering experience found nowhere else in horse racing. Combine that with our all-new mobile website. You have 2 of the most powerful, innovative, and advanced wagering platforms available today. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Each morning on the OTB TV network, you get the very best in horse racing programming. Weekdays begin with the Handicappers Report, where professional handicappers share their selections and analysis of the day's racing. Followed by Racing Across America, a daily conversation with racing personalities from around the country. Saturdays include Down the Stretch, where Mark Casano speaks with the biggest names in racing. And Sunday mornings, it's Loose on the Lead, where Steve Bick and I offer news and a unique lineup of weekly guests. All here on the OTB TV network.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
On and some off.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Thursday morning. Seth Merrow and Jeff Carl, and we were talking a little bit about the Belmont card that is coming up this afternoon. You were mentioning, unfortunately, one of the races off the turf you were looking forward to, that 6th race.
The 6th race was a maiden special weight on the turf, and there was 8 out of the 12 horses you can make a case for. And I don't know what's going to happen now, but I mean, my notes were like, we've waited for a race like this all winter in New York, and we're not going to get it today.
So a couple of races off the turf today. You said the 4th and the 6th?
The 4th and the 6th are off, and the 8th and 9th are on. They're listing the turf course as good. The main track is listed as muddy right now. But looking at my Doppler radar, they're going to get quite a bit of rain. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it get downgraded, if you want, to sloppy. Sometimes that's not a downgrade, though. I don't think. It depends.
We'll see how it works out as the day progresses, but keep your eye on that. The opener at Belmont today, State Bred Maiden 40. These are 3-year-olds and up. Again, they are New York breds. They will go the 1-turn mile.
1, 5, and 7 here. The number 1, Scare City. This son of City Zip apparently didn't like the turf course. Most of them do. He says, I don't really like it. He didn't run all that well last time out. It was State Bred Maiden special weight, but it was easily probably one of the worst races of his career. But now Rick Schatzberg, the trainer, is going to move him back to the main track. They're going to put blinkers on him. He has the 1 hole going that mile, so I think that Apprentice Taylor Rice is just going to kick him out of there. He should be the pace setter. And again, I think Scare City can take this bunch wire to wire, so I'm going to put him into the top spot. For second, let's go with the number 5, Golden Nugget, who's going to be catching New York breds for the very first time. You know, his last race was a head scratcher. It was an off-the-turf event, Maiden 40,000 Open, and boy, he just never really got involved, as they said. But prior to that, he was second for Maiden 25,000 at Gulfstream Park. Again, that's open company, running against state breds for Maiden 40. You have to think that's comparable, and he was a decent second that day. So repeat performance of that makes him some consideration here. I'll put him in the second spot. And for third, I went with the number 7, Reaction Rate. You know, I'm just trying to take a shot here. This horse is 15-1 in the morning line. 2 races to his credit, and he hasn't done anything whatsoever, but those are Maiden special. He is dropping a little bit. I do need him to do something. I'm just taking a shot, Seth. The number 2, No Nukes, is 2-1 in the morning line. Just not a fan of his. He's been beaten at every level and every distance in these state-bred maiden races. So, you know, if you like him, throw him in there. But, I'm going to take a chance. 1, 5, and 7 in the Belmont opener.
Race number 2 at Belmont this afternoon. It's a claiming event, $25,000 tags. These are 3-year-old fillies. They will go 3/4 of a mile.
1, 6, and 2 here. The number 1, Positive Vibration, was just overmatched in her last outing. It was the New York Stallion Series. She was riding a 2-race win streak, so they took a chance. Her prior race, she won a state-bred entry-level allowance race. And now she's dropping down the open 25,000. She has speed from the inside post. She's getting Wilmer Garcia aboard. I just hope that Wilmer outbreaks my second choice, the number 6, Tis a Rocket. The number 6, Tis a Rocket, is dropping down from $50,000 starter races. This is a little bit of a head scratcher because this horse is eligible for Never Won 2 Life, and they write these all the time. So, I certainly respect the connections. Rudy Rodriguez, Michael Dubb knows what they're doing. You got Irad Ortiz aboard. But again, I question the fact that this horse was claimed for $50,000 3 starts back, and then that was out of a maiden race where he got beat a nose. Or she got beat a nose. Then she did win the maiden 50 in February. Didn't come back until late April, and again, a regression there. And now they're dropping her in for $25,000 instead of maybe waiting for Never Win 2 Life. Again, it's enough for me to make a question mark to put Positive Vibration into the top spot. I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times, Seth. But I'm going to go 1, 6. And then the number 2, Bridget Maloney, is my third choice. She should be running late. She was third in a state-bred claiming $20,000 event. And again, I think she'll be running late to get third. The horse I really took a good look at was number 3, Williams Lucky Gray, who 8 days ago she tried the turf course, and I thought she handled it pretty well. She set the pace and just kind of faded that day. Gary Contest, I'm wondering if he was hustled into this spot. This is only a 6-horse field, and I really wanted to put her in, but I didn't know if she was going to be staying in. So 1, 6, and 2 in the Belmont second race.
Third race this afternoon, another claiming event. Again, the claiming tag's $25,000. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. 6 furlongs the trip.
And it looks like a very similar condition to the last race, which was claiming $25,000 for fillies. But last race was straight 3-year-olds. This one is 3 and up, and there are no 3-year-olds. Why would you run in this one against older horses? I went 4, 5, and 1 here. The number 4, Queen 9, going to be returning from a little bit more than a 5-month layoff and dropping down from $35,000 to $25,000. Chris Engelhart is her trainer, and Chris has a very nice percentage with lengthy layoffs at like 28% from 61 to 180 days, and we fit right in those parameters. And she is fresh, and I'm again, as my last race, I'm hopeful that she outbreaks my second choice. She's got Mike Luzzy aboard, coming out of the number 4 post position, 5-1 in the morning line. I'm just hopeful with her being fresh, and we know that Mike likes to get out there, and he does a very good job when he's on the front end. So I'm going to put Queen 9 in the top spot. Hopeful that she outbreaks my second choice, number 5, Resolute Babe, who still is a decent price at 8-1. She's dropping down from $50,000 starter and then an entry-level allowance race at Laurel she run prior to that. She did break her maiden 3 starts back from maiden 50,000. Again, she's eligible for Never Won 2 Life. But again, the connections know what they're doing. Michelle Nevin, this is not an awfully tough field, but you wonder why they didn't wait around. But I think she's got enough early speed that she can be out there. Probably shadowing Queen 9. I got them going 1-2 all the way around there. And for third, I have the number 1, Air to Dare. There's 3-5 in your morning line, but I really don't like the fact that she was claimed on March 30th for $32,000. Hasn't run since, and now they're bringing her back and dropping her right down to $25,000. This is a very popular filly. She's been claimed her last 3 starts of her career. I'd be very suspicious if somebody takes her today, Seth. The fact that they claimed her for $32,000, a couple months ago, and now she's dropping in for $25,000. So 3-5 in a 5-horse field, I've got to put her in my mix, but I'm going to take a couple shots against her. 4, 5, and 1 in the Belmont 3rd race.
4th race, and again, this one will be off the turf. It is a New York-bred maiden special weight event for 3-year-olds and up. Again, they were scheduled on the turf at 6 furlongs, but they're off.
Seth, in the position we are in here, Handicappers Report, I think you almost have to go with the main track only horses because we're coming on before scratch time, and at least we know, pretty sure, that these horses are going to run today. So I went 15, 16, and 2. The number 15, Wake Up in Malibu, hasn't run since his debut on August 30th in Saratoga, where he set the early fractions. He was the favorite that day. He faded, but still finished 3rd, got beat 3 lengths. He's trained by George Weaver, and we know he does a very nice job. And the works that I see are indicating that he's ready to score right off the bench. They liked him first time out. Last time he ran solid enough. Obviously, maybe something went a little bit wrong. He's had the time. He's got a good trainer, George Weaver. Let's put Wake Up in Malibu, the number 15, into the top spot. For second, the number 16, Rivetto, who should benefit from his debut at Finger Lakes this month on the 6th of May. A little bit greenly at the break, then he made a late run for 3rd. And again, that's maiden special weight at Finger Lakes, and obviously the competition isn't much tougher. But maybe trainer Jimmy Bond just realized this horse is going to need a race under his belt and didn't want too much competition. It wasn't really bet that day either. You think a Jimmy Bond first-time starter come to Finger Lakes would be bet a little bit more than 7-1. But I think he's going to benefit, and I think he's going to benefit for some moisture in the racetrack. This is a son of Raffy's Majesty. I have a Conquistador Cielo mare, so he might like it a little soupy or sloppy out there. And for 3rd, I'll go with the number 2, Stenson. I'm just going to assume at this point is going to stay in. He's run 3 races in his career. They've all been on the dirt track. So, maybe they wanted to try the turf. He is the son of Freud, but he's been okay on the dirt also. Last time out, he was a distant second as a lukewarm favorite. So again, Javier Castellano rode him that day. He's going to ride him again today, and once again, hopefully he stays in. We don't know at this point, but I can pretty much be assured that the main track only horses are going to run. So 15, 16, and 2 in the Belmont 4th race.
You say that, but I'm always amazed when they scratch.
I know. That's why I'm saying I'm pretty sure, but I'm not 100% positive.
5th race today at Belmont is a $16,000 claiming event. These are fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. They'll go a mile.
Well, in those instances, I really think that probably something came up this morning where they weren't feeling good, or there was a medical reason they came out, because obviously they intended to run. In the Belmont 5th race, let's go 3, 1, and 2. The number 3, Shalala. She was 3rd for $16,000 at Gulfstream Park in her previous race on March 28th, so she's been freshened up a little bit since then, and I think she should be able to get into a nice stalking position from the 3-post position and get the job done today. Maybe the $16,000 at Gulfstream Park, very comparable to the $16,000 here. And again, I think it's going to set up well for her. So let's put the number 3, Shalala, into the top spot. For second, the number 1, Darnley Bay, dropping down a little bit from the $20,000 level, where she was a distant second. She was a closer 3rd before that for $16,000. Although she was the favorite that day, she didn't get beat very far, only about a length and 3/4. So again, this is the proper level for the right distance. Let's put the number 1 Darnley Bay into the 2nd spot. And for 3rd to number 2, Get Gorgeous, who's moving back to the dirt. And her proper level, she was a non-threatening 7th in a $16,000 starter race on the turf. So again, back to her proper level and better surface. 3, 1, and 2 in the Belmont 5th race.
All right, 5 down. We have the rest of the card to go right after this break. Stay tuned.
California Chrome has won the Preakness! And that elusive prize, the Triple Crown, awaits California Chrome in the Belmont Stakes.
The dream continues. The Triple Crown dream is still alive.
And the best place to be when it happens is the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. You can also be part of the action by visiting one of our Easy Bet or branch locations or bet online at capitalotbbet.com.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB television network.
The Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back. That's right, the 2014 Capital OTB Handicapping Challenge Series is back, and it's your chance to win thousands in cash and prizes, and a seat at the 2015 Handicapping Championship in Las Vegas. This month's contest is the King of the Hill on June 14th. So sign up today, online at capitalotb.com or stop in at the Clubhouse Racebook.
Funding your Capital OTB bet account is as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1. Easy Money. Clearly the fastest and easiest method of depositing funds into your account. Make deposits or withdrawals in just minutes. 2. Green Dot Money Pack. Gives you instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3. MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
This is Steve Beck. Join me Tuesday through Saturday here on OTB TV for At the Races, my Sirius XM daily news magazine of the thoroughbred industry. Handicapping, interviews, analysis, everything you could want. 6 a.m. OTB TV.
Welcome back. We'll continue now our look at Belmont for this afternoon with race number 6. It is a maiden special weight event. These are fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Again, it was scheduled for the grass. They're off the grass, but it was scheduled on turf, mile and a 16th.
Yeah, boy, like I said, what a doozy this would have been on the turf because, as I said, you could have made a case for 8 out of the 12 in the body of the race. All that being said, they are not on the turf, so I'm going to go 1A, 15, and 6. The 1A is Forensic. 2 solid turf attempts, and now this one was entered main track only by trainer Shelly McGee, so you'd have to think he thinks this daughter of Medaglia d'Oro is going to take well to the main track. And, you know, I mean, 2 solid efforts in 2 starts. Let's put Forensic into the top spot. I don't think you're going to get 6-1 with, you know, no rider has been named right now, but you know Shelly's going to get a quality rider. So with those 2 races under her belt, I doubt you get 6-1, but at this point, like I said, I'm only pretty sure that the main track only horses are going to run today. So let's go with the 1A Forensic on top. And for second, the number 15 Magi regressed a little bit in her last race in February, and you know she has a real sporadic running line. She's 5-2 in the morning line, and the reason I took Forensic over is she made her debut in September of 2012, didn't come back to race until May of 2013, and then didn't come back until February of this year. So obviously, this daughter of Tiz Wonderful must have some issues, and that last race was a regression. You can hang your hat on the fact that she's training very well coming up to this race, but enough of a question mark to me with that sporadic running line to not put her any higher than second. So I'm going 1A 15. And then, then you have to try and find a horse you think might stay in. And I went with the number 6, Quality Legend, trained by Mitch Friedman, who claimed this daughter of Elusive Quality out of her debut on May 9th. She was in for $50,000 maidens. She had a little trouble at the start, never really got involved. That was over a sloppy track. I don't know if it was because of the slop or whatever, but I'm thinking that Mitch Friedman, with this new member of his barn, is going to put her out there and see what he has. So again, just trying to find a horse you think is going to stay in, Seth. My original top choice, number 10, Wonder Upon a Star, I was really looking forward to seeing this horse run because her debut was deceptively good. She got off a little bit slowly, and then she got wrangled all the way back at Keeneland, and then made a wide run around the turn and finished 4th. To me, if she's in, I don't know. She's a daughter of Street Cry, trained by Jimmy Toner. She ran on turf last time. They probably aren't going to leave her in. But to me, she was a very interesting horse. All that being said, main track, 1A, 15, and 6.
7th race this afternoon is a state-bred claiming event, claiming tags of $20,000. These are 3-year-olds and up. They'll go a mile.
7, 5, and 1 entry here. The number 7, Star of New York, was the beaten favorite this level last time out, going 6.5 furlongs. We're going to get the mile today, and I think it's a little bit better distance for this horse. 2-1 in the morning line. I think Angel Arroyo should be able to get a nice stalking position for trainer Pat Quick, who does a sneaky good job with his horses. So let's put Star of New York into the top spot. And for second, I'll have the number 5, Meeker Avenue there. And what I'm looking for a repeat of that April 19th where Star of New York and Meeker Avenue ran against each other at the mile distance. Meeker Avenue set the pace that day, held second behind Star of New York, and you're getting 10-1 on Meeker Avenue today. He has, I think that's very generous and could make a nice exacta for me. The entry of David Jacobson, the one entry I have in my 3rd spot, is even money. Instead, I don't know, I wouldn't take either one of these at even money. I know maybe you're getting 2 for the price of 1. As we know, David doesn't always run both, even though he has 2 separate riders named on. Pure Attitude has Erad Ortiz named on, and he just ran 4 days ago at Monmouth, and he was a beaten heavy favorite that day for $10,000. Writing on the Wall, it's got Carino Velasquez named aboard. He's dropping down from $50,000, but he hasn't run since mid-March, and that was a dismal performance. So at even money, I think I'm going to stay away from these 2. I'm going to go 7, 5, and 1 entry.
Yeah, it's interesting off of that 6th place finish back in March, Writing on the Wall.
Yeah,
But the big drop in Jacobson, I think the morning line is just based on the
yes,
name,
absolutely,
the drop.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
I agree with you, though.
And the morning line is probably accurate. I mean, they probably will be even money, but not for me today, Mr.
Kind
Seth.
of worth taking a shot against. All right, the 8th race today, optional claimer, 62,500 tags, non-winners of 2 other than the condition. These are 3-year-olds and up on the turf at a mile.
6, 7, and 8 here. The turf is listed as good right now. And as I said, I looked at the Doppler radar. It looks like they're going to get a soaker at some point today at Belmont. So I don't know if this is going to be downgraded to yielding. We'll wait and see. I'm going to go 6, 7, and 8 here. The number 6 front. This New York bred really scored nicely in an open entry-level allowance race on April 12th. I remember I took a good look at him that day, and I said, boy, I think he's going to need a race. I was wrong. He really ran very well for Jimmy Jerkins, and that was returned from a 5-month layoff. I'm not concerned about the bounce factor. He had a very solid 3-year-old campaign last year. Not outstanding, but very solid. And maybe he's going to be a better 4-year-old this year. They're going to take the chance to try to get this open condition out of the way. But maybe this is a horse who, again, might go back into some New York bred stake races on the turf later on this year. I was very impressed with that performance he had coming off that layoff. So I'm going to put number 6 front into my top spot. For second, the number 7, Middleburg, who's been away since a close 3rd this level at Gulfstream Park on January 16th. Not overly concerned with the time off. He's trained by Christophe Clement, who certainly this amount of time off is really not an issue. He was favored. He's been favored his last 2 races, and he was beaten. He did win his entry level at Gulfstream Park, and toward the end of December and was, again, beaten favorite third. He should figure in here with his best effort. The number 8, Calm Pacific, is my third choice. Has never run poorly, but he has been beaten twice this level at Gulfstream Park, and I think he's meeting similar conditions, and he was favored last time. 6, 7, and 8 in the Belmont 8th race.
Finale today at Belmont. Race number 9 is a state-bred allowance event. Non-winners are one other than, again, New York-bred 3-year-olds and up on the turf at 9 furlongs.
I went 10, 9, and 4 here. The number 10, Mental Iceberg. I liked this New York bred last time out when he was in open company, and now he's in with state breds. And Seth, 6-1 to me, I think looks very, very generous. I was not happy with the Angel Arroyo ride on this horse last time. He broke very, very well. Angel took him back off a just absolutely pedestrian pace. They went 26-52, and this horse couldn't make any run at that point. Obviously, Greg DePrima wasn't all that happy with that ride also. He's made the switch to Jose Ortiz. The 6-1, I think, is very, very generous. Back with state breds. So I put the number 10, Mental Iceberg, into my top spot. He's 6-1. For second, I have the number 9, Morning Calm. This 3-year-old meets New York breds for the very first time. His last race was a regression to me, and he's taking blinkers off today for trainer Michelle Nihei. Again, he's 3-1, and that was an open company race. This horse ran okay in the Palm Beach at Gulfstream Park. Not great. He was overmatched that day. But that last race just was really a step backwards for him. So with the blinkers off, maybe it's going to take a race for him to transition. I'll put him in the second spot. And for third and number 4, Fleet First. This son of a Fleet Alex, I think he might take to the turf. He wanted it last time, trainer George Weaver did, but he still ran him in an off-the-turfer, and we know the kind of work that George Weaver does. 10, 9, and 4 in the Belmont finale.
All right, that wraps up the handicapping portion of the program. We took a look at Belmont and Churchill Downs, a couple of the tracks you can enjoy on the network this afternoon. Plenty of good racing to play that kicks off with Churchill Downs, moves on to Belmont, then over to Belterra, Arlington, Golden Gate Field, Santa Anita, Northfield, Saratoga Harness, Yonkers, and Mohawk. So a good afternoon and evening of racing for this Thursday. Don't forget, if you didn't get our selections, capitalotv.com. There's that clickable link where you can pull up a page, nice printable page with all our selections each and every day. You can also visit the website to find out about the various events and promotions here at Capital OTB. All right, that's going to wrap things up for the Handicappers Report for this Thursday morning. Seth Merrow, Jeff Carl. Thanks, Jeff.
Hey, my pleasure.
Hopefully we gave out some good information, so cash some tickets. Stay tuned. Up next, it's Racing Across America.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off-Track Betting.
To your right, please, Seth. There you go.
Thursday.
Good having you back, Seth.
Thanks, Jeff.
That's all right,
You
It's good.
bastard.
It's good.